All right. Angela's in the house.
Angela.
Could you both share an example of one of the differences that led to your divorce?
Ooh, our exes. We're going down
Yeah.
that path. I can.
I don't want to go first.
No. No, and for the record, my ex and we used to call ourselves the poster children for divorce because we were so amicable. It wasn't even funny.
Really?
Oh
Yeah,
God.
you told me that.
Yeah. I mean, it just dissolved,
Yeah.
But we were good friends for a very long time, and we just grew apart. I think, it's the classic, and it sounds so trite that we grew in different directions, but I was looking more for spiritual development and going in that direction, and it felt like it was time, that the relationship we had served each other beautifully. We were partners in so many things, businesses, etc. And then we weren't. And
So, and I know your backstory, so I appreciate that.
Yeah.
For me, and without crossing a boundary with my ex, I think what happened was I didn't know who I was. I was a very unconscious husband. I followed the path, man's job is to be provider, protector. I really had no real emotional connection with my partner or my ex, I should say now, we did have friendship and we had a lot of common friends, but I was so tunnel vision because I was indoctrinated that men are supposed to be this way, that I wasn't a very loving husband. I was going through trials at work, my professional life. I became very myopic. And because of that, it kind of wore away at our relationship. But as far as differences, I can't think of a specific difference with my ex. Well, we probably had slightly different sense of humors, but I liked her warped sense of humor. Even to this day, when we speak to we always send each other, ever since our son passed away, we've become very, very close. And we send each other Instagram reels to one another all the time, pebbling, with one another. And so I actually feel grateful for the relationship I have with her. And Paula has met her. She was out one night in the village, and you met her. So, All right, let's go to the next question. How do you learn to adore a key difference, like he doesn't think it's valuable or important to share appreciation or admiration? I love doing it, and I think it creates intimacy. Well, not everybody's going to reach adoration, if your relationship. Yeah. So remember, coming back to the love scale, we talk about a difference, right? Well, some people feel frustrated with differences. And Cheryl, I'm going to suspect you're feeling frustrated in this difference. Mm-hmm. Okay. And the next is and I'm getting the sense that he rejects or resists what you are seeking. He rejects and resists it. So, and if there's no impasse after that, you're stuck in rejection or resistance, right?
No,
if the relationship let me say this. If you're continuing to stay together, there's probably some level of tolerance going on, right?
Yeah.
I think it's important for each other to understand this difference. She said, the key difference, he doesn't think it's valuable or important to share appreciation or admiration. So what would you do if that's the case? I don't think that's important. What would you say to me?
What if I said to you it was important to me? So I think that that's what's striking me, Cheryl. It feels like, are you hopefully sharing with him that, this is important to you?
Yeah.
And if it is important to you, could, how can we meet in the middle? Like what would be something that you would feel comfortable with that could still make me feel intimately close with you? I think that, there's some happy medium in there, and it might not have been explored yet.
So, and I think what you just said is his need to he doesn't have to understand you. Okay. He doesn't have to, but what you're making a request is understanding why this is important for you. And further is to come to a place for him to come to a place of acceptance that this is important to you. In fact, why don't you have him watch this video, right now, watch this video, to start to understand how the love scale works, because this is important to you. And by the way, you have a very valid reason to want to feel appreciated, to be admired, to be validated. So you have a need, and you're now making a request for that need. I would recommend reading the book, Nonviolent Communication by Marshall Rosenberg. And by the way, all the links of the books I recommend are listed below. Why this is such a critically important book is that, we humans aren't good at expressing our needs to one another. We do it as commands, or right. I mean, oftentimes is I if you don't do it my way, I'm out of here kind of thing. So I think this is really about expressing your need. And here's the thing. Come back to my book, chapter 1, speak your truth. Do it with kindness. Just do it with kindness. In chapter 9, if it's sincere and from the heart, you can't say the wrong thing to the right person. The right person actually wants to make you happy. And if this is a need you have, then you have every right to express your need and come to some level of agreement with one another, hopefully coming back to acceptance. You don't have to reach appreciation or adoration right away. That takes a while in some cases. But boy, coming to acceptance would be really important, I think.
And then I would probably piggyback on that and say, we have people that we know that are very different.
Yeah.
And but they have this beautiful commitment to their love relationship. Yeah. And he's very nature driven. He doesn't come from an emotional standpoint very much. She's very kind of like woo-woo spiritual. And, between the two of them, it's kind of one of those like, they have this beautiful connection. And I think that has to do with commitment and the ability to say, I understand who you are. And so where I'm going with this is Cheryl's person may not be able to, or comfortable, let's just say, in sharing from that place.
Okay.
And how do you move that needle?
So it
might be Cheryl's ability to see that also, to be able to work with that also.
Well, in the couple you're thinking of, they also have a shared passion with one another that is so integral part of their life, and they share it. It happens to be nature. They have this gigantic love of nature, and they spend a lot of time. And for them, that's where they really connect. And I suspect, Cheryl, that there are other facets of your relationship, hopefully, that you have this kind of connection. It'd be really sad if you didn't.
She went on to say he takes pride in his stoicism.
Wait, so say this again.
He takes pride in his stoicism.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
What isn't pride one of the deadly sins?
No. I mean, I know a lot of people who are stoic, and they really, in some ways, people like us who are very like that, that's not a way that we operate, but for them, that is a sense of who they are.
Now this is just a judgment on my part. I could be wrong. It's a projection, but I think oftentimes stoicism can be a repression of feelings, to be stoic, to be almost in a vacuum around your emotions and feelings. And I think there's a byproduct that comes from that, oftentimes, that eats from the inside out from stoicism. And quite frankly, and my belief is, we are in an evolution of relationship. And that evolution is from the transactional way we approach relationships, the dependent way we approach relationships. And it is now time to evolve into the emotional facets of a relationship, to actually go, this is what my partner needs, and I want to fulfill their needs. It's not stoic to not express appreciation. There's nothing stoic about not expressing appreciation. Could I be wrong on that?
There's nothing stoic about not expressing.
Yeah, if you're not expressing appreciation for your partner, you're saying, well, I'm stoic. I'm like, there's nothing, what's the word I'm looking for? It's an avoidance mechanism.
Okay.
Expressing appreciation, okay, I'm going to curse now, should be a fucking prerequisite of a relationship. In other words, attention, affection, appreciation, and acceptance, like Paula talked about. It should be a prerequisite. It's a daily vitamin for relationship success. And I'm sorry, I'm going to be, bombastic here and be righteous when I say this. Fucking appreciate one another is what keeps a relationship juicy and delicious. In my point of view, you don't have to take this, this is how I feel. All right. What are some people are saying? All right. Angela has another question. And I'm going to say, do you think conservative and liberals can have a peaceful marriage?
Ooh. There's a very prominent celebrity couple in
Political
the politics.
couple.
Yeah, in the politics world that are one's very left leaning and the other is very right leaning. I can't remember.
I can't think of their name, and I know them off the tip of my tongue.
And they've faded out a little bit, but they used to be in our time, they used to be really prominent.
Can I answer this?
Oh, no. Yeah. Well, I think that they had an amazing relationship, but that's because they were having healthy discourse.
Yes. And more importantly, I would venture to say, Republicans and Democrats at the core share very similar values. It's those that at the extreme or those who get caught up in the politics of things instead of the actual morality that in my mind matters most. In other words, your values. If your values are different.
I think most people want to be understood.
Yes.
And seek to understand to a certain extent, in their points of view.
Yeah.
I think it's when you start getting off into the fringes
that's where
division and separation.
But I think Republicans and Democrats can be happily married, But again, if you're deeply rooted in your ideology and in that I'm right and you're wrong, I don't see how that will work. If you're saying my point of view is right and the other person saying my point of view is right, I think you're going to butt heads because you're going to be stuck in tolerance. And by the way, coming back to remember the love scale on differences and tolerance, and in the tolerant space, there's a shitload of resentment that comes up. And by the way, it's this couple, James Carvell and Mary Madeline.
That's it.
Exactly. Thanks for sharing that with us. So, all right. That's my point of view on